Hello, everybody. This is Lisa Stansberry with the Stansberry Art Studio. I've just decided to go ahead and launch a YouTube channel and see where it takes me. I'm kind of branching out into different types of mediums, so I thought I would just start a channel and see what happens with it. I'm going to be opening a new studio here in a few months, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So I recently took some mosaic glass on glass pieces up to Doc's Dyes in Bisbee, Arizona, and I had a lot of people asking me about it. So I thought I would show you. I'm not going to show you how to do a mosaic, but what I can show you is how to prep for that. So here we go. Okay. So what I'm talking about is it's kind of hard to tell because there's no light coming through on this. This is one of the first pieces that I did. It's basically, I found a frame that I liked and I took all the backing off of it and I kept the glass, glued the glass in place, created a design on top of that glass, so the glass is my substrate. And then you hang it in the window, and it's beautiful and it's fun, and it allows you to color outside the lines with stained glass. And I'm always looking for ways to do that. So let's get started with it. What I love about this technique is it's one of my go-tos if I'm traveling. So wherever I go, I would have, you know, a little shard party. Not really, but okay. So here's a small little frame that I picked up at the thrift store for $1.50. And I know it's really cute and it's going to be hard for some of you, but you got to take all this stuff outside, on the inside out. And so there's certain things that I won't destroy, and usually it's religious. If there's, you know, I kind of hesitate on certain pictures that I go in, and so I'm basically just going to take the backing off, okay? Putting that aside, I'm going to take off all the cute little pictures, and you can save these and use them some other way. And then basically what I'm going to do is take the glass out, and you can see it's pretty dirty. It's probably been sitting in that thrift store for eons. Yeah, it's pretty cakey on. So let me clean this up real quick. It doesn't have to be perfect because I can always come back and clean before I actually set a design on top of this. But just so you guys can get an idea of what we're doing. Okay, it's not perfect. I'm also going to take a moment to kind of wipe this thing down, the frame. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm now going to set that glass right back where it came from, right back in the groove that it came from. But before I do that, I'm going to now this is what, before I get started on this, I want to say that I am not an expert in this technique. I've been doing it for quite a long time. I'm a member of the GOG Mosaic Facebook page, which is Glass on Glass. Those guys are the experts. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but just kind of hang out with that group and you'll learn tons of stuff. That's where I learned. So I'm basically going to use some E6000, and I'm going to get it right into that crease where this glass is going to go. This is one of my, oh dear. This is one of my fun, most enjoyable, I should say, techniques with glass, because It's basically just a nip, nip, glue, glue, nip, nip, glue, glue. We're being invaded. Okay, go away. That's my cat coming to say hi. Okay, so now I'm going to take the glass and I'm going to put it right on top of that glue. Okay, and it's going to sit right inside that same spot that I took it out of, only now it's got glue going to hold it in. Okay. Now I can go ahead and, just for safety, I don't take these, I forget what these are called, some kind of staple, I think. I don't take those off. I'm going to use those in case your glue fails. You know, you kind of want to have a little bit of a backup plan, and this is my backup plan. So I don't put them on real tight, just put them in place so it'll help hold that. Okay, so before we go much further now, because I took the backing off, and more likely, you know, I took off the ability to hang this piece. So before I take another ounce of my time and energy on making a design on this and then worrying about the hanging piece, I do the hanging piece now. Because if I destroy this $1.50 frame, now's the time to do it. And so when I go to Ace Hardware, God, I love that store. I always grab stuff in the hanging department because I love to have options at 2 o'clock in the morning if I need them. These are a great option. They're the little, they're hard to see, but they're called D-ring hangers. I love the D-ring hangers. I also always pick up a few feet of different types of chains that I like. And I have, here's some more options that you have. I don't really like the sawtooth option because I've seen it fail, and you don't want this to fail, because if you do this, you're going to be hanging it on a nail then, and this is really kind of something that you want to have chains on, hanging inside of a window. The sawtooth is not going to give you that. But these other little rings, I don't know what they're called. Oh, let's see. Screw eyes is what those are called. And then you can just wrap wire to each eye and twist it up. And, you know, I would suggest that you start out with just a small, this is like a perfect size to start out with. This is probably, I don't know, 6 by 10 or something like that. Or you can even go smaller, just so you can kind of get the hang of how all this is supposed to come together at the end. Okay. So because I have my plan B, okay, so let's pretend that I've chosen my hanger. I've drilled small little pilot holes in here to help my hanging option. Like, you definitely don't want to just take a screw and screw it into this wood here. You want to help it with a pilot hole with the smaller bit on your drill. And then this will go pretty smooth once it's in. Okay, so let's pretend that the hanger is on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let's pretend this is dry. I normally would let this dry for a few hours before I'm going to flip it over now and do the next step. And so now, though, what I need you to understand is, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the inside of this once you start pressing and gluing and pressing and gluing. So you kind of want to support that. And I always find something that'll fit inside that frame. I've got basically a little bit of newspaper folded up just to kind of help support right there, right there, right there. Because once you start gluing and, you know, you forget this is just a thin piece of float glass. It's not even a normal piece of stained glass that, you know, 3 millimeter. So always support your substrate. Okay. So, and then the next step would be you want to protect your frame, because you may opt out of grouting, you may opt out of resin, you may opt out of all that stuff. I've got some pictures that I opted out of grouting because I felt like it would take away from my design. And I probably should have went with resin, but I've not really ever done that. So if you do that, let me know how you like working with resin. So basically, let me get over here so you can see. I'm taking painter's tape, and I've learned, I'm going to just protect the top part, because your glass and your grout is going to fit right up against that inside frame there, and you don't want to impede it. I have wrapped the painter's tape around, and then once I grouted, I realized that I kind of blew it, because as I pull the tape out, the grout's coming out with it, and it leaves you with a clear spot on your piece. I don't like it, so I don't do it that way no more. So you're basically going to go around the whole thing with your painter's tape and just protect the top side of that frame. Even if it's a $1.50 frame, you don't want to go to all the work and then have your end result not be perfect. So just take the time and protect it now. Get your hangers on now. Get your clean glass in now. Pretty excited about my studio. So we're going to be taking on, Sarah and I will be taking on pottery. So 1/2 of the entire studio will be devoted to pottery. And we're both really excited about that. I'm just about done here. Okay. So now I got the whole thing wrapped. Okay, and that's going to protect that. Okay, so now it's time to take your design, whatever you want to do. This is actually not going to be a mosaic, so don't hold me to this design. This is just for examples. And you can actually, figure out how you want it to be and tape it down on the back side. I'm on the back side still. Okay, so now I have my design in place, and then I can just start. This is my nippers. I can just start nipping. This is 1 bucket of green. I have every color imaginable, and they're all full like this. So it's time for Lisa to get busy on mosaics, because this type of glass here, it's not really fusible unless I fuse it upon itself, but it makes for perfect mosaics and stained glass windows. So I'm going to try and use some of this stuff up. Did I forget anything? Yes, I did. So you can, like on the orchids, I cut a whole piece in the shape of an orchid. You can choose to cut that up. You can choose, the options are just whatever you want to do with it. For instance, this piece here, I could cut strips of green to create and then just do the little nips on the edges. Or I can have many, many pieces to create that. Or I can do both. It doesn't matter. I do what I want, right? This is the great thing about art. And then you want to do something for your background. You can deviate away from whatever you want to do, whatever type of glass you have. The other thing I would like to talk to you about is the type of glue that I use to glue the little nips on here. And I use this stuff. This stuff is the best stuff. It's called matte glue. It's the best for mosaics because it dries clear. It dries fast. The key to it is, like, if you have a super big piece of glass that you're going to, let me grab this. Like, you would definitely want to treat a big piece like this, like you want to put glue around the edge, kind of thick, not too thick, so when you go to grout, that the grout does not bleed underneath your piece. There's nothing worse to me, and I've done it so many times, especially when you're working with textured glass. It's real easy for that glue to dry up and leave a hole just enough for that grout to bleed under. It's terrible. You don't want that to happen. But at the same time, you don't need to glue the entire back. Just give it a kind of a thick bead around the edges. This piece isn't so bad. I've had another piece where I wasn't using matte glue. I was using a different, very popular mosaic glue, and literally I put it in my Arizona car for 6 months before it was dry enough for me to grout. So that's it. If you have any questions or you want to get started, just let me know and I'll be happy to help you out. This is a super fun, easy way to use up your scraps if you're a glass artist already. And like I said, I love doing this on the fly, traveling, and just always have a mosaic going because they're just so super fun. Anyways, that's it for now. Welcome to my channel. I hope to see you more. I'll try to do a little bit more stuff a little more often. So stay tuned, everybody. Stay safe, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Okay? Talk to y'all later. Bye.